Hey everybody, I just got back from seeing a symphony, which was The Legend of Zelda Symphony of the Goddesses. And I want to tell you about my experience and whether it's worth it to go see it or not. Because concert tickets can be pretty expensive, and depending on what you think of seeing stuff in an audience, it might depend on your perspective of whether you want to pay that much money. I went to see it with my friend Hirosashi, who I do the POS podcast with, and his brother. And we sat fairly close to the orchestra, though it was in section 3, row Y, so it was the 25th row in that section. But we were still in a good area where you could see the entire symphony. And they had these 3 screens, one in the middle, one and 2 on the sides. And those screens would show game footage of whatever game that they're performing the music of. When the program starts, they do an overture, and then the producer comes out and says what he needs to say what this is, and it's all about Zelda. And then they go into the first set, going over a few games. They went over Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, and Link Between Worlds even. And of course they have the new arrangement that they did with Breath of the Wild, which I wore the shirt there, my Breath of the Wild shirt. And then after that first set, they do an intermission, so you can go outside and go to the merch table or go to the bathroom or get a drink or whatever. And also so all of the people in the orchestra can just take a break for a minute. And then they came back in the second set where they did a bit more of Ocarina of Time, though more specific songs like Song of Time, and also Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, and sort of ended it with Link to the Past. Though that wasn't really the true ending to the show, because they do an encore if it's warranted. Though they probably do that every time, because they have these recordings of Miyamoto and Aonuma and Koji Kondo up on the screen talking to the audience. And one thing I wanted this show to have, that I wasn't expecting them to have, but apparently they did, was Link's Awakening. I was actually talking to Hirosashi and his brother about favorite Zelda games and saying that Link's Awakening was my favorites, and it turns out that that was the encore. But that wasn't it. There was also another arrangement they did for Breath of the Wild, which was pretty neat. There was quite a lot of people there excited to see the show, and it was nice to see a lot of people into Zelda and the music. There were actually a few people cosplaying and kids cosplaying, and that was very fun. So is it worth it to go see one of these shows where they have a live orchestra playing all of the Zelda music? I think it really depends on who you are and what you enjoy. As far as participating in an audience and sitting down quietly and then applauding when you want to or when you need to, and seeing the people in the orchestra physically playing their instruments. But if you're a person who just listens to the music just casually in general, and you don't really need anything visual to see what's going on, I think you might still enjoy some of it because there's they have a ton of footage from the games and everything to go along, and sometimes it syncs up really well. I appreciate the talent it takes to play these instruments and see them actually playing it fully in a group. And most of the times in these shows they use players from your city. So here they use people from North Carolina. It's also fun to just have people so enthusiastic about a franchise that you like. So if you're a big Zelda fan and you've played most of the games, then you'll definitely enjoy this. Just remember that concert tickets aren't very cheap. They're usually the price of a new game or more. But experiencing all of the Zelda music live in an orchestra in an auditorium where it's being played very loud is once in a lifetime. Or once a year, depending on how often they visit your city. Because I think the last time they were here was 2012 maybe? So I'm very glad that I caught them this time. So if you're interested in seeing the Zelda Symphony, I'll leave a link in the description so you can see their schedule of whether they're playing in your city or not. Right now they're mainly in the US, but they're also going to be going to London soon, and then Canada for a lot of the different cities in Canada. So if it sounds like something you're interested in experiencing, definitely check it out. I had a great time, and I'd love to see another orchestra like that, like Video Games Live, the next time they come around here. So that's my experience with The Legend of Zelda Symphony of the Goddesses. Tell me what you think down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, by now we're getting a bit used to winter. We're like soldiers in the middle of a campaign, growing hardened to discomfort and better able to